Guys, deluded Guna. Now, we all know what happened in Manchester. If you don't already know, I don't know where you've been, because wherever you are in the world, surely if you've got a mobile phone or seen some sort of news, you've seen or heard about what's happened, whether it's racism or terrorism or etc., any sort of gruesome act. It's never nice to hear about these things. Obviously, in 2017, 16, well, last couple of years, we've seen a lot of these attacks. We've seen a lot of it on social media, a lot of traumatic footage from the sites. And I personally can't watch any of them things anymore because every one you see leaves a more disturbing memory in your head. And I'm a person who's big on mental health, so I don't watch them things again. But it is upsetting, man, because services are being cancelled. I know it happened in Manchester, but wherever these things happen, the rest of the country is essentially grinds to a halt. Yes, people still go to work. Yes, people still have life. Essentially, has to go on. But there's a negative air around it, and it's not. It just doesn't feel quite right. So yeah, in that regards, it's upsetting to hear that United, obviously, they're playing in the Europa League, the Europa League final. They've cancelled, well, they haven't had to, but well, out of respect or whatever reason, it has been cancelled. The pre game conference. That's upsetting for United fans to be able to miss out on that. I mean, press conferences are useful on the best of days, but it's a final you'd like to hear from both sides. And even if they did go ahead with it, it would clearly. I put nothing past the media, so they might still care. But I'd like to think that the respectable ones in the media, in and amongst the bad apples, Jose certainly, and any United player, or if there was Ajax players there, I don't know how it was going to go. Really want to talk about it, and there'd be it'd feel a bit forced and things like that. And so quite rightly, it's not there. Now, what I am more upset about, well, I'm upset equally about these things, but I feel sorry for Chelsea fans. I mean, Chelsea players, fans, staff, everybody connected with the club. Any club that wins the league, you go from August to May, full of dramas, blood, sweat, and tears. And ultimately, you want to see your team and everybody be in jubilation, be happy, celebrate, open top. I'm obviously talking about the title parade. It's been cancelled due to safety fears and not wanting to put a strain on emergency services. You can't blame Chelsea. It's better not to take any chances. Personally, I'm of the belief there's no right or wrongs in this because we all essentially just want safety and be able to go to a concert or go to a football match or whatever and return home or wherever safely. So there is no rights and wrongs. Personally, I believe why am I saying racists? Terrorists can't win. If we stop and we grind to a halt and seeing things like this being cancelled, they win. This is what they want. Then what typically happens, we sit down for a minute, it's quiet for a minute, eventually it goes back to, I don't want to say normal because there isn't no normal, but for the purpose of this, it goes back to normal, and then they strike again. This happened in Westminster. This is now happening in Manchester. Sadly, it's sad to say it will probably happen a couple more times before the year ends. And I can only say that please, if you are religious or even if you're not, just pray for your loved ones. Keep in check with your loved ones. And yeah, any day can be your last. I mean, we all say that when typically something happens, but it really is true. None of them kids deserve to be injured, die, or if they did die, etc., etc. They were going, especially when they're going to a concert somewhere for enjoyment. And you can't blame parents or whoever for being increasingly paranoid now. Now, like I said, it's upsetting to see Chelsea cancel their parade because we can't let people win. And ultimately, why should the public be denied something because of a few certain amount of idiots? So yeah, then next you're hearing that Arsenal and maybe Chelsea. I like to think, well, Chelsea probably have. I can't confirm it, but if Arsenal are going to do it and Chelsea have already cancelled their parade, they'll cancel another one. I'm talking about the prospective FA Cup final. Arsenal have cancelled the parade should they win. Chelsea will follow suit. I mean, they've cancelled their trophy parade for the Prem, so naturally you'd think they do the same. On top of that, we've even cancelled the typically when we reach a final, the FA Cup final, we have the streaming at the Emirates with the what am I forgetting my words? The big TV. So yeah, that's been cancelled, and you've got to look at that as that's particularly upsetting. I mean, like I said, there's no right and wrong. We don't know any potential targets or their game plans and tactics for when they're carrying out these malice acts. But you like to think at Wembley, 60 plus thousand, however many people who can be seated at Wembley, however many people, surrounding areas like the McDonald's, etc., etc., numerous targets for terrorists to hit and cause a lot of trouble. And simply put, the majority of people will be there as opposed to at the Emirates watching the game. So you'd like to think relatively the Emirates would be left alone. People would be able to watch the game. So for the very fact that they don't want to take any chances is upsetting. Like I said, I'd like to see it still continue because I don't believe we should have to live in fear. But it is upsetting that they don't even want to take the chance. Like, that is very upsetting. And now certain fans that look forward to going to that couldn't go to the FA Cup final, so they were going to that because the next best thing in terms of being surrounded by fellow fans and celebrating, are now denied. So we now have people denied press conferences, two trophy parades, and many other things. And there's obviously, away from football or with football, numerous schemes, projects, workings, etc., and services that have had to be cancelled in London, or especially in Manchester. And now people are missing out on things that they wouldn't have to. It's sad. It is really sad in 2017 that we live in a world like this. You can hope for the best but prepare for the worst, is my take on society. Because sadly, do you ever see this sort of stuff ending? No. When you look at the powers that be, the certain things that are not to talk about politics, people, but certain things that the West are doing to these countries, and certain manufactured wars that the West are allowing to happen, and then allowing it to happen here. Not to get into politics again, it's not a politics channel, and it's very dangerous to air certain views. So not to get into that, but ultimately it's disgusting. I mean, we were here before. This happened in Paris. This happened in Paris. This happened in America numerous times. Well, not necessarily. Well, yeah, it is terror. It's ultimately terrorism, regardless of faith, race, background, religion. It is all acts of terrorism, regardless. If you're going and shooting up a school, or you're doing what you did to the concert, or you're doing this and that, it is terrorism, and it's upsetting. There's not much more to say other than that, people. I mean, it's just, please, for me, just stay safe, people. Anyone watching this, just stay safe. Just make sure you're not anywhere you don't need to be. Don't go anywhere you don't need to be, and just stay vigilant. Check up on your loved ones. Delulu Laguna, I'm signing out again. Not to make a dark video and things like that, but there's some certain things that have to be spoken about. I'm signing out anyways.